In this week's Parsha, Bilam is hired to use his supernatural powers to curse the Jews. He had this understanding of just when up in heaven, there was that split second where Hashem can operate on this, what's called anger. Of course, in Hashem's terms, whatever that means. He knew how to just find that second and slip it in and curse the Jews that it didn't work. And the prophecy he received and all of the attempted curses turned around, they all became blessings, everything was a bracha. But he had an alternative plan. Why did he tell Balak? Elokeim shel elah sonei zimohu. The God of these people, he has a hatred towards immorality. So he gives him advice. You go to battle. Forget the armament. You'll never be able to kill a single one of them. Send out the women. Ruin the purity of the Jewish nation. They'll collapse. That was his plan, and to some degree it worked. With their swords, they would have gotten nowhere. But it's interesting, because when we read the Psukim, it says that the Jews then got involved in idolatry as well. And Rashi explains, the women had them go and bow down to the idols. So I guess idolatry was another aspect of it. But that wasn't what Bilam advised them about. He didn't say that their God is one who hates idolatry. Of course, it is prohibited. But why is that part of the plan? What are we dealing with? Immorality, idolatry, both. But the plan was presented as their God hates immorality. And the answer is very simple. Did anyone think that when the Jews got involved in the idolatry there, it was because they believed in it? They're practicing it. In fact, they outdid the pagans. But is that what was going on? They just did whatever the women told them to do. You know, once their Yetzer Hara took over, there went their brains. Do anything. You've got to understand. When you're dealing with theology, you're dealing with ideology. I would assume that the cerebral process In those days, there was an added part. There was a drive to worship something visible, something tangible, that was not fulfilled by serving Hashem that one couldn't see. But that was not the issue here. The idolatry, this was not a theological decision. This was all a matter of the instincts take over and the brain is gone. You know something? This is part of what is so disgusting about immorality. And we've got to understand this ourselves. The issue is no longer idolatry. Who's bowing down to sticks and stones? All the way if they want to. Today anything goes. Doesn't make a difference what the issue is. That's all secondary. The ideology, the philosophy, that just gets dragged in there. The question is, are people using their brains or have the instincts taken over? And once the instincts take over, you can accept anything. The world today, the Western world for sure, has adopted liberalism, which sounds so right. Acceptance, tolerance, mutual respect. These are beautiful words. It sounds like we're dealing with a progressive society, unprecedented. In practice, what they've produced is a license to do as you please and give the instinct a free hand. Sounds like a terrible accusation. I'm taking contemporary thinking and blaming it all on human instinct. You've seen the world. What's it look like out there? Thinkers, philosophers. What makes people tick? Find in the Torah, in Parshat Balak, where the Torah presents those who cannot marry and lists the various forms of immorality that are prohibited. In fact, the Torah defines what is and isn't moral. And the introduction to it all is don't do like the Egyptians did. And don't do like the inhabitants of Canaan, of Canaan that you're coming to do. And then the Torah sums it up. Uv'chukoseim lo seilechu. Do not follow their chukim. Chok. The laws. Chok is what you stand for. The chukim of a Jew are the 613 commandments. The 613 principles that then have lots of details under them. Our chukim are a life of closeness to Hashem, a life of caring for one another in a big way. It's not a matter of acceptance. It's a lot more than respect. It's being there. It's being there for everyone else. This is what we live by. What are the chukos hagoy? What do they live by? And the Torah is presenting it as one thing. The instinct. The chukim. What is it that makes them tick? What is it that stands behind every movement, every philosophy? The desire for freedom to do as the body desires. Idolatry. The idolatry of this week's Parsha is nothing more than a way of measuring just how much the immorality took over. They'll stop at nothing. Anything she says. Stop at nothing. This is what God can't accept. What makes immorality so disgusting is that it means selling your soul to your instincts. Completely ignoring your brain. The greatest value to the Jew is wisdom. The most important aspect of our very existence is the fact that we have the ability to think and analyze and choose, make rational decisions. And when we allow instinct to take over and completely trample on anything that's important to us, and then twist our philosophy to justify it, that's the worst of all. What hurts so much is that, as always, our brethren are at the forefront of liberalism. It's always Jews that are running the show. It's always Jews that are fighting and taking the next step. Time for war. But not a war to be fought with guns. Pinchas saved the day. At that point in time, his spear sent a clear message. Because the Jews, by and large, knew what was right. He was able to bring them to their senses. Today, that won't especially accomplish anything positive. Nonetheless, it's a war. It's got to be fought with education. We've got to open people's eyes. We're so outnumbered, we've got to be strong. But we've got to recognize that their strength is in numbers, and the fact that they don't realize what's being pulled over them. Humanity's bought into this without thinking. It doesn't take all that much to bring people back to their senses. These are Jews. We've got to get out there and fight. We've got to change the message. The world got to know. Jews have to know. All this populistic stuff, it sounds great, but they've been brain dead for a while. The body's having a heyday. You got to have conviction. You got to be clear yourself. You got to think this through, because on every level we've got our issues. But it's got to be so clear. And then get out there and reach every Jew you can, in any way you can. It was the media that did it in the olden days, and continues to push. Who knows where it's going to end? You may have to learn to fight on their terms. You've got to infiltrate the media, which is so much easier in this day and age than ever before. Every one of us, we got to do our best. This is a real battle. It's a war. It's a war. Our brethren have bought into a falsehood. We've got to stand up for the Jewish brain. We've got to stand up for the most basic Jewish value, which is wisdom. Take the challenge. Everyone's got to try. The odds are it's going to be an individual or two that will be successful. Let's daven for the siyata d'shmaya for it to happen swiftly.